The script for the video you're about to watch was completely wrote using an AI agent. In this case it was ChatGPT. And what I basically did was I logged onto ChatGPT and then asked it to write me a script for a 10-minute YouTube video based around 5 reasons why you're not improving as a landscape photographer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the script word for word, and then at the end of the video I'll jump back in and have a chat with you about the suggestions that ChatGPT made, and also a little bit of a discussion about AI in general. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Now, if you've been struggling to see improvements in your landscape photography, then you're not alone. Today I'm going to be discussing 5 reasons why you may not be improving and how to overcome these hurdles. So let's dive in. Reason number 1 is a lack of patience. Landscape photography often requires waiting for the perfect light and weather conditions. The best shots frequently come from those moments just before or after a storm, during the golden hour, or under the soft light of dawn or dusk. It's all about timing and waiting for the right moment. If you're rushing, you might miss these magical opportunities. Next time you're out, give yourself ample time to wait for the right conditions. Bring a book or podcast to keep yourself occupied if needed. Remember, patience can turn an average shot into something extraordinary. Reason number 2 is inconsistent practice. Like any other skill, photography improves with regular practice. If you're only picking up your camera occasionally, it's challenging to see progress. Try to make it a habit to go to the shoot regularly, even if it's only in your own back garden or in your local park. Consistent practice helps you get familiar with your camera settings and improves your ability to see and capture the beauty around you. Set a goal to shoot at least once a week, and then you'll start to see improvement over time. Reason number 3 is overlooking composition. Composition is crucial in landscape photography. It's not just about capturing a beautiful scene, but how you arrange the elements within the frame. Pay attention to the rule of thirds, leading lines, symmetry and framing. Take the time to study the basics of composition and experiment with different angles and perspectives. Sometimes moving a few steps to the left or right can dramatically change the effectiveness of your photo. Reason number 4 is ignoring post-processing. While it's essential to get the best shot possible in camera, post-processing is a critical part of the photographic process. Programs like Lightroom and Photoshop can enhance your images, correct exposure issues, and bring out the details and colours that make your photos pop. Invest some time in learning how to use these tools effectively. There are plenty of online tutorials and courses available. A well-edited photo can make a good shot great. Reason number 5 is not seeking feedback. It can be easy to fall into the trap of shooting in isolation, but constructive criticism is available for growth. Share your work with fellow photographers, join photography groups, or participate in online forums. Listen to what others have to say about your work. They can offer new perspectives and point at areas of improvement that you might have overlooked. Don't take criticism personally, use it as a tool to get better. Improving as a landscape photographer takes time, effort and a willingness to learn from your mistakes. By addressing these 5 areas, being patient, practicing consistently, focusing on composition, embracing post-processing and seeking feedback, you'll start to see significant improvements in your work. And that's the 5 reasons why AI thinks you are not improving as a landscape photographer. Now, before I start discussing actually what AI has suggested, I must say this video has been incredibly hard to record, and I think it's due to the lack of human input in all the initial stages. So far it's been filmed in 4 different locations, which you may or may not have guessed, and I think reading a script which a computer has generated for me hasn't felt right. And perhaps that's the first big problem, you know. If you're doing something creative, you want to create it. You don't want a computer to spurn out all the information for you, but here we are, that's what we've done. And really, let's go into what the computer actually suggested. Now, the first one was patience, and I fully agree with that, because I think you do have to get to a location with plenty of time to spare so that you can A, find the perfect viewpoint, and then B, just sit around a little bit and wait for the perfect light. However, sometimes this of course doesn't go to plan and you find yourself rushing around searching alternative compositions or whatever, because the light's not doing what you want to do, or the light's doing it in a different place. But the point is, be patient. Allow yourself plenty of time to be patient, I think is the big takeaway from that one. Now next was practice consistently, because I think that's a really good one. And it's half the reason why I actually record these videos, simply because it gets me out virtually every week filming new stuff, taking shots I wouldn't necessarily have taken if I didn't come out with a video in mind. So really, yeah, practice makes perfect is what they say, and it's very true. I've got an everyday carry camera which I take on school runs and things with me, so I may take shots just on whims really, but really it's just a good idea to just use your camera as much as possible, at least once a week, ideally more than that. Now of course then we have focus on composition, and whilst I fully agree with what AI was saying here, you do have to focus on your composition, you do have to think about your viewpoint, you do have to think about your height, you do have to think about the focal length you're using, and you also have to think about the elements you want to include within that frame. But what I would say was what the AI spurned up as the text for us to use really was very vague and wasn't particularly that helpful. But I think the actual advice is very true. Do focus on your composition. Try and get that composition as good as possible in camera, because you can't rely on the next stage, which interestingly AI thinks we should basically concentrate a lot more on post-processing. I don't know, I don't fully get this one, because yes, I agree, it can turn a good shot into a great shot. I don't think it'll turn a poor shot into a good shot. So I think you need to get that composition right, you need to get the lighting right, you need to practice more, and then get that shot as near as damn right in camera, and then do the final tweaks just to sort of basically to interpret the scene how you wanted it interpreted in the first place. And finally was seek feedback, and that is a good one. I think it can be a bit tricky in an online environment, and I think, you know, I'll be honest, I think some people online can be a little bit toxic with the sort of feedback they will give you. So yeah, by all means do share photos, do go on forums and ask people. I think it's all good to get feedback, but just be prepared that you may have some noggins who wants to basically give you negative feedback, and really it perhaps wasn't so warranted. And what I tend to do is, before the stage of actually posting anything online, I try and sort of basically be very critical about my images myself. And I think I'm probably my own worst critic, because a lot of photos I won't let through because I think they're generally just not good enough. Yeah, so maybe start to sort of self-critique your own images yourself more. Look at them, look at things you could improve in that shot. And then after that, if you think the image is somewhere near, then sort of try and get feedback from a wider community. Of course, you can do it the other way around if you want. It's all down to person's choice. That's just how I work, and I think it avoids all the nasty people on the internet that you can unfortunately find. But let's talk about AI in general, because I think what this has done for me, this video has highlighted the fact that asking AI to produce something for you on a creative front is generally, whilst a good idea to get some ideas, it's never going to complete the whole finished thing. And we could apply this to photos, you know, and I'm seeing it a lot in post-processing where people take shots and then they'll use AI generative fill to get rid of things that shouldn't be in the shot and stuff like that, when the reality is they could have just moved to the left or right a little bit more and avoided getting that thing in the shot anyway. So for me, that's a negative use of AI, but I know a lot of other photographers totally disagree and they swear by using it. So I think that's absolutely fine. What I would like to say is, I think if you're going to use AI in your shots, then I think it would be nice if you actually tell people that you have used AI in your shots, because I think definitely a little bit of the skill is being taken away by employing a computer to fill in the missing gaps for you. And as for YouTube scripts, I asked for a 10-minute video, and as you see, once I followed the script, I was getting roughly about 3.5 minutes, so I don't know how much padding out it wanted me to do to get that to 10 minutes. Perhaps I needed to speak slower, perhaps I needed more B-roll, I don't know. But I think it was an interesting experiment, and probably not one that I will do again. I will possibly use AI to give me a rough idea for video ideas and scripts for a rough guideline, but it's definitely not something I will be using on a day-to-day basis. But all in all, it was meant to be an experiment, and I hope you guys have got something from this video and have picked up some tips from ChatGPT. Thank you, ChatGPT, my artificial intelligent friend, for producing the content. But yeah, I think I'm going to resort back to my own waffling on. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't. One slight note to make is I do try and post weekly, but I'm actually going to have a couple of weeks off now for August. Spend some time with the kids, they're all moving to bigger schools. So yeah, I think we'll have a couple of weeks off and I'll see you towards the end of the month. So thanks again for watching and I'll see you again soon. Enjoy the summer.